My father inherited multiple rental properties, lived comfortably, and left us with nothing. Now I'm left battling heartbreak and betrayal. Here's why I'm so hurt. I never thought I'd be here, sharing this with the world. But I guess that's what the internet is for, right? So here goes. I've spent the better part of my life feeling like I was dealt a bad hand. And it's only now, after years of internal struggle, that I realize I was probably right all along. My story isn't about a tragic event or some dark family secret, but it's about something just as painful: emotional neglect and financial betrayal. My father was never poor, but he was never exactly the poster child for generosity either. It all started decades ago, when he inherited a small empire, 6 properties spread across the city. These weren't luxury penthouses or sprawling estates, but they were more than enough to provide for him and his family. The rental income from those properties could have easily supported a family in comfort, but my dad did so much more than that. He had a steady, full-time job for years, and on the surface, things seemed pretty normal. But in the background, there was this quiet, growing wealth. He'd collect the rent year after year, without ever having to worry about a single thing. His job was essentially a safety net, but what really kept him afloat was a steady stream of passive income from those properties. It was like he had the best of both worlds. In those early days, when I was still just a kid, I didn't understand what that meant. I didn't see how easily he could have set us up for a better life. I didn't know how many doors he could have opened for my brother and me with that kind of wealth. All I saw was a father who was working hard and seemed to be comfortable, and that was enough for me. But I was young and naive. It wasn't until years later, when his full-time job came to an end, that I started to see the true scale of my father's financial situation. His employer, a once thriving company, went under, and all his colleagues were left scrambling for new work. Many of them ended up in low-paid, dead-end jobs just to make ends meet. Some even hit rock bottom and, tragically, took their own lives. But not my father. My father cruised into retirement without missing a beat. He had the rental income, and it was more than enough to sustain him. While others struggled, my dad was living a life of quiet luxury. He took annual vacations to Europe, sometimes twice a year. I'll never forget the photos he'd bring back. Him smiling on the beaches of the Mediterranean, in front of historic castles, or enjoying wine in some quaint village cafe. He'd always tell us stories of his trips with this smug satisfaction, as if he were the only one who had figured out how to really live. Meanwhile, my brother and I were left to pick up the pieces of our own broken lives. And then there's the part that really eats at me, the part that cuts the deepest. Despite having the steady stream of income, my father never once reinvested in those properties. Not once. The houses were aging, the walls were cracked, the plumbing was barely functional, and the roofs were leaking. Over time, these properties went from being valuable assets to being nothing more than run-down, dilapidated buildings. Yet, instead of using his wealth to fix them up or to at least ensure they remained valuable, he chose to let them deteriorate. It's as if he just didn't care. But you know what he did care about? Himself. He cared about living his life the way he wanted, regardless of the impact it had on anyone else. He went on his European holidays. He bought his little luxuries, and he left us to fend for ourselves. One day, I finally gathered the courage to confront him about it. I couldn't hold it in anymore. I asked him why he never thought about us when things were so hard. Why he never helped us out with school or university, or even a little financial support when we were struggling to make ends meet. And I'll never forget his response. He looked at me, calm as ever, and said, "Why should I have to suffer for you?" Suffer? Suffer? I was stunned. I was crushed. I didn't know what to say. My mind raced, trying to comprehend the words that had just come out of his mouth. Suffer for us? When he had everything, and we had nothing. I'm not expecting a handout. I'm not waiting for an inheritance. What I wanted, what I still want, is for him to show me that I mattered. For him to say, "I've got you." For him to acknowledge that my brother and I struggled because of his decisions, and that maybe, just maybe, he could have done something to make our lives a little bit easier. But that never came, and it still hasn't. What really stings is the realization that my generation, my brother's generation, and all the kids that came after us were robbed of an opportunity that was rightfully ours. An opportunity to have a leg up in life. An opportunity to thrive. My father could have done so much for us, but he didn't. And instead, I've spent my entire adult life feeling like I'm chasing a dream that was always just out of reach. It's not even about the money. It's about the years of missed opportunities. The things I could have done with the time and resources he had. It's about the emotional weight of knowing that a parent had everything they needed to make life easier for their children, but chose not to. And now here I am, struggling. Financially, emotionally, mentally. I've tried to move on, try to let go of the resentment. But it's hard. Every day. I think about the life I could have had if my father had cared enough to invest in us. And I wonder how much of my pain and brokenness could have been avoided if he just made different choices. I've been down some dark paths in my mind. There have been moments when I've wondered if it's all worth it, if it's all too much. Not because I want to die. No, not at all. But because it feels like the weight of all these years of disappointment and heartbreak will never go away. It feels like I was robbed, not just of material things, but a chance to have a meaningful, supportive relationship with my own father. I'm not sharing this to make anyone feel sorry for me. I'm not looking for sympathy. But I'm just so damn tired of pretending like it doesn't hurt. I'm tired of feeling like I'm the one who has to pick up the pieces of a life that should have been easier. I'm tired of feeling like I'm still a child waiting for approval from a man who will never give it. I know I'm not alone in this. I know there are countless people out there who have experienced the same sense of abandonment, who have felt the sting of watching a parent live a life of comfort while their children struggle. So, I'm reaching out, hoping that anyone can relate. Have you gone through something like this? How do you cope with the betrayal, the hurt, and the emotional scars left by a parent who had everything but never gave anything? I'm just trying to move forward. But it's hard when the past keeps pulling me back. I want to heal. I want to find peace. But right now, it feels like the weight of my father's choices will follow me forever.